What's up? What's up? What's up? What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy, on the channel where we talk about fragrances and fashion. If you like looking good, if you like smelling great, you found the right channel. I hope you would consider clicking subscribe and make sure that you also hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified when I upload new content on the channel. So on today's video, we're going to be diving into 10 fragrances in my collection that I think are highly slept on for cold weather. Now, there could be several reasons why these fragrances I feel like will fall into that category. Number one, it could just be a fragrance that is actually really made for cold weather. It's really cold weather appropriate, but for some reason people have shied away from this fragrance, or they just for some reason don't talk about it. So you're going to find those kind of fragrances on the list. You're also going to find fragrances that in most people's minds aren't really made for colder temperatures. So you will find out about those kind of fragrances as well. So ultimately, what you're going to see on this list is 10 fragrances that probably nobody else is really talking about. You won't find these fragrances on anybody's fall or winter top 10 list. Again, but at the end of the day, they are really good for cold weather. So if you want to see what fragrances I chose for my collection that fit that description, you know how we rock, you know how we get down, man. Keep it locked right here. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump right into this list of 10 fragrances. The first one up on the list today comes from the house of Mugler, and this one is called Ultra Zest. Now, I know that a lot of you guys are used to seeing this fragrance on people's summer fragrance list. And I myself am guilty of that, as I have put it on a summer list before. But let me apologize to you guys, because although I've tried this in the summer and you can kind of get away with it on cooler summer days, this is more appropriate for cooler temperatures, specifically the fall. This is the perfect time to wear this particular scent, because although it has that nice kind of zesty, Ultra Zest, that zesty kind of citrus opening with the orange and the tangerine, a little bit of the mint and ginger, when it starts to dry down, guys, you have patchouli and vanilla and cinnamon in this fragrance. So it makes it really, really thrive and excel in cooler temperatures. So again, could you get away with it with wearing this in warmer months? Yeah, kind of, sort of, but it's best in the fall. I think you can get away with this in the winter as well, and it'll be kind of a change up because you have that nice citrus opening to it. So check this one out, guys. I know it's discontinued. If you can get your hands on it for a decent price, don't let people rip you off. Don't pay $300-400. But just if you can get this for around that $150 price point or under, I think it'll be a good buy. So check it out if you can, from the house of Mugler. Good for the cool temperatures. This one is called Ultra Zest. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list today, on this list of fragrances that are slept on for cold weather, this one comes from the house of Fragrance du Bois, and this one is called New York Intense. New York Intense. All right, guys, now stop me if you heard these notes before. Blackberry, Orbanum, Oud, Immortelle, Cinnamon. Yep, this thing smells a lot like none other than the one and only from the house of Amouage, Jubilation 25. Does put you in the mindset of Jubilation 25, not an exact clone. Again, I don't think Jubilation 25 has oud in it. You can detect the oud in here, so it does give it a different kind of profile, but it will put you in the mindset of Jubilation 25. And of course, you hear a lot about Jubilation 25, and it could be because this is a newer fragrance house that you don't hear about this one as much. But let me be the first one to tell you, this is a really, really dynamite scent to wear in the cold weather. Again, oud, immortelle, honey, vanilla. This thing is absolutely amazing. And again, it kind of puts you in the mindset of Jubilation 25, but again, it has that oud and that very prominent note of oud. Although it's not over the top, it's a wearable kind of oud profile. Stuff is good, man. So check it out. Nobody's talking about this one from the house of Fragrance du Bois. This one is called New York Intense. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list comes from the house of Mancera, and this one is called Aoud Cafe. Aoud Cafe. Now, again, one of the fragrances from the house of Mancera that to me that doesn't really get a lot of mention. But since I am doing a fragrance list and I'm talking about fragrances that are great for cooler or cold temperatures that does not get a lot of recognition, that are slept on, this is one that I have to mention. Now, it's a kind of sweet coffee fragrance, honestly, is what it is. Of course, it's to listen to the name, it's Aoud Cafe. So it's a very, very, very sweet coffee fragrance. But again, in the cold weather, this thing really shines. It has coffee. It has it's listed as sweet notes, but there has to be some cacao in here. Although it's not listed as a note, I picked up some cacao to my nose. But it has this nice kind of fruity open. It has peach, bergamot in the opening of this fragrance. But again, when you pair it with the coffee, you pair it with the cacao, you pair it with the musk in this fragrance, it just works. And nobody is talking about this stuff. But again, if you want something that's on, of course, a niche fragrance that you're not going to have to break the bank for, that's going to do well in cold weather, that nobody else is talking about, this is one that I suggest you take a look at, especially if you are a coffee fragrance lover. This is from the house of Mancera. This is Aoud Cafe. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list comes from the house of MFK, and this one is called Amiris Homme. Amiris Homme. Guys, trust me, put this on your skin in the fall time. Man, this stuff shines. It has a beautiful opening of mandarin. That mandarin orange is gonna kind of run through, honestly, the good first 2 hours of this fragrance. I can pick it up and detect it. So for some people, it may kind of trick you into thinking this is someone that's more suitable for the warmer temperatures. But let me tell you, when this thing starts to dry down, you get that beautiful, that coconut, that chocolate in this one. Tonka bean, when it gets to the far dry down, you get some tonka bean in this as well. Stuff is amazing, man. Iris, there's a very creaminess to this one as well. They say it's a milk accord. I don't really know if it's a milk accord, but it is creamy. I will say that. It could come from the coconut, honestly. But man, this stuff shines in the fall temperatures. And again, this is one from MFK. Nobody really talks about this one. Of course, you hear about the more popular fragrances from MFK, but this one is a really, really good one. Easy to wear, good for cool weather. So check out Amiris Homme from Amazing Francis Kirkjohn. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list comes from the house of Amouage, and this one is called Beloved Man. Beloved Man. Now, this is another one from Amouage that doesn't really get as many mentions as some of the other ones. You hear a lot about Jubilation 25, you hear a lot about Reflection Man, Interlude Man. Not a lot of people talk about Beloved Man. Now, thing about this one is when it opens up, this is another one that could really initially take you to more of a spring kind of fragrance. It has a beautiful opening in this. I think it has grapefruit. There's like an orange grapefruit combination, but you immediately get this elemi note in here, which is kind of a resin. And it doesn't come off overly resinous or anything like that when it opens up, but you do detect that slight bit of, I would say, a little dirty kind of resinous thing in the opening with the grapefruit and the orange. But man, when this thing starts to dry down, it gets spicier, and of course it gets a lot warmer. You have, in addition to the elemi in this particular fragrance, you have saffron in this, you have some leather, you have vetiver, cedar wood, so it gets really, really warm as it starts to dry down. It doesn't smell like this, but if you think about the kind of scent profile that you have with the original Santal from Creed, it's really fresh, in the opening, but when it dries down, it gets a lot warmer, a lot sweeter. That's the same kind of direction that this fragrance goes in. It gets a lot warmer when it dries down, and it's really, really good. Not a big projector, but it projects enough and performs well enough to do just well enough in cooler temperatures. So check this one out, man, from the house of Amouage. This is called Beloved Man. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list, this one comes from a designer fragrance house, and this one is called Jimmy Choo Man Blue. Jimmy Choo Man Blue. Now, obviously, I can tell you right now, one of the problems that this fragrance may have with a lot of people is when you hear the name or see the bottle, you're going to think, of course, this is a more blue aquatic fragrance, something more along the lines of like maybe a Dior Sauvage, or maybe even a Bleu de Chanel, or a Bulgari Aqua Atlantique, something along those lines, Dylan Blue. But this is nothing like that. This is a spicy fragrance, and it's really, really heavy. When it opens up, that you have some clary sage, there's some cypress in here, so we're really heavy on the spices. But man, the dry down, this is a heavy vanilla fragrance. And of course, vanilla, is a note that works well in the fall and winter. So you got vanilla in here, so you have leather in this fragrance as well, sandalwood, so it gets really, really sweet as it dries down. And again, those notes, the heavier, sweeter notes, are way more prominent in this fragrance. So don't be fooled by the outward appearance of this bottle. If you're looking for something on a budget, especially for the cold weather, that's slept on, that nobody really wears and talks about, this is one that I would say take a look at from the house of Jimmy Choo. It's called Jimmy Choo Man Blue. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list, this one comes from the house of Chanel, and this is Allure Homme Edition Blanche. Now, this is not a fragrance, of course, that doesn't get a lot of attention. Everybody knows about this particular fragrance, but of course, it's a summer staple for most people. But let me tell you, wear this fragrance in the fall, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. Of course, people talk about the lemon meringue pie. Again, I don't know what lemon meringue pie smells like, to be honest with you, but of course, I understand that reference comes from, there's a lot of vanilla in this fragrance, and there's a very prominent lemon kind of citrus opening in this one, and that is true. But to me, again, if you look at this fragrance, it has vanilla, it has tonka bean as well, sandalwood, so it gets really creamy and sweet. And guess what? Although you have that nice citrus opening on this fragrance, and yes, you can wear it in the summertime, this thing is absolutely amazing in the fall when it's cool outside. Put this thing on in that between 50 to maybe 65, 70 degree temperatures in the fall, and you're gonna get even better, response from this fragrance as it kind of emits off of your skin in cold weather than you do in hot weather. Trust me. Check this one out in the fall. You'll see what I'm talking about from the house of Chanel. This is Allure Homme Edition Blanche. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list is just plain flat out slept on. This one comes from the house of Costume National, and this is called Costume National Soul. Costume National Soul. If you're looking for a high quality oud designer fragrance, please do yourself a favor and put your nose on this. Again, if you like oud, I feel like you're going to love this fragrance. This is another one that has oud, leather, and patchouli on the dry down. And again, nothing much more to say about this fragrance than it's absolutely phenomenal. It is high quality, it is well done, an amazing oud fragrance on the designer level. Check it out from the house of Costume National. This one is called Soul. All right, now the next fragrance on this list, this one comes from the house of Tom Ford, and this is called Noir Anthracite. Noir Anthracite, and a lot of people just completely dismissed this fragrance when it came out. If you were expecting anything similar to anything in the previous releases from the Noir line, I understand. But man, give this fragrance a try when it is cold outside, especially if you're going to like an event where you're gonna have to be dressed up, maybe a tuxedo or maybe just a suit with a shirt and tie in the winter time. Give this fragrance a try. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. Now, of course, at the end of the day, this is not a mass appealing scent. This thing is really, 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 really spicy. It is really, really heavy and on the leather. Leather note in this fragrance is very prominent. Ebony, amber wood. Again, very masculine. Very different from anything from that Noir line. Again, so don't expect anything close to a Noir Extreme, because this is not it. But man, I'm telling you, if you like a nice, again, heavy masculine fragrance, this one really works. And I'm telling you guys, it shines in the cold weather. This one is on this list because it's a fragrance that people just really a lot of people just dismissed this fragrance because it's not an easy to wear fragrance. It's a little bit challenging, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if you can pull this off, you are the man. And of course, I can pull it off because I'm the man. So check this one out from the house of Tom Ford. This one is called Noir Anthracite. All right, guys, and last but not least on this list today, this fragrance comes from the house of Armaroud, and this is called Sunset Oud. Sunset Oud, and this is from their original collection, hence the black bottle. They have some in the white collection in the white bottles, and they have a more exclusive line. But man, this is probably the best from the brand if you ask me. It has a nice kind of bright citrusy opening. I think there's maybe orange and yuzu in the opening of this fragrance, but man, when it starts to dry down and you get and the oud comes in with that citrus, that orange citrus and that yuzu, this stuff right here is magical. And this is one of the ones that made the list because just nobody talks about this fragrance. Nobody really honestly talks about the house of Armaroud that much, and I think they have some really high quality fragrances. Especially if you're an oud lover, you're going to get a nice variety of a lot of different kinds of oud fragrances and the different ways that oud can be used that are not really typical. So a house that, you know, if you like oud, I would say you need to check out. But man, this stuff is really great in the cold weather, and a lot of people are sleeping on this fragrance. So check it out from the house of Armaroud. This is called Sunset Oud. All right, guys, that's it. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed the list today as I gave you 10 fragrances that are great for the cold weather, but they are highly slept on. As always, I sincerely appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention to these videos. Of course, you don't have to watch. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you took a few moments to watch this video, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to make sure you take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use this information or find it entertaining, because I'm Darian, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.